Path Media. I was a minimum wage movie theater usher that made good and became a top earner in my network marketing company. Now, after 16 plus years in the profession, I'm finally teaching myself how to leverage the internet with online marketing and social media marketing to continue to grow and expand my business. My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer. All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going to talk about being middle-aged. No, not really. That's not really the topic. But I wanted to discuss definitions, right? And I say middle-aged because this is on my mind because I saw a post recently where this individual, apparently middle-aged, or at least she's owning that she's middle-aged. And it's a reaction video to all the posts that she supposedly has seen of people in their middle age talking about how they're living their best life and they're in the best shape of their life and they're so healthy and they're out there crushing it, and it's just like, this is the new 20, and you're just getting started. And she really was just railing against all these videos that she sees in her feeds of middle-aged people having the best time of their lives and absolutely crushing it and just getting started. And then she goes on to define what middle age really is, right? And she talks about how, joints ache, and I sleep in, I go to sleep at 8 o'clock at night, and my memory isn't as good as it was. And again, she shares her definition of middle age. And but here's the thing. Here's where I really, and not to invalidate that, right? Because that's her experience, which is all well and good. What I want to clarify is that she communicates it in a way as if that's how it is, period, right? It's definitively that way for being middle-aged, right? Like that's the definition of middle age. It's not true. Clearly, it's not true. Obviously, if she's reacting to other people that have defined their own experience as being middle-aged, as being awesome, and they're just getting started, and they're full of life and vitality, right? There's so many definitions. The individual definition of that experience of life depends on the individual. And so what I'm getting at is you got to really be careful of the definitions you put out there with your content, especially if you're a coach, if you're a leader in your profession, if you're somebody of great influence. And not to say that you shouldn't share your experience and you shouldn't share your story, but really be mindful in how you package that, because people are going to buy your definition of things. And I've always taught that definitions are really are boxes. And if you're creating a definition that's a box for people, then you're potentially limiting them from experiencing life in other ways. You know what I mean? Like, so this one particular example, if people buy this lady's definition of what middle age is supposed to be like, then they're going to be relegated to being achy and forgetful, and it seems overall curmudgeonly and miserable, right? Which is, it's not the case. I mean, this year am turning 47, right? I hesitated there for a second. Not that that's the thing. Number one, I don't let that some number define who I am, right? Her experience of being middle-aged is definitely not my experience of being middle-aged, right? I'm not forgetful. I'm not achy. I'm not curmudgeonly. I'm more energetic and I have more vitality than I've ever had before. So that's my experience. And if you want that experience, I can help you have that experience as well. So it's just not a thing. It's just not a thing. As leaders, especially if you're in the coaching profession, and whether or not you're either of those two, as a content creator, my emphasis on the syllables are way off today. But as a content creator, you got to understand the definitions and the language of the messages that you're putting out there, because you can have a tremendous amount of influence. And if that influence if you're unknowingly setting limitations on how people live, then that's not really healthy, right? Like it's not productive. We I believe as coaches especially, but as leaders and people of influence, as thought leaders, are I think one of our jobs, one of our purposes is to expand people's perspective, not to limit them. So we have to really be careful of the definitions that we're putting out there, the narratives that we're putting out there, to make sure that we frame them in a way that to make sure, sorry, let me backtrack, starting there, to make sure that we're framing them in a way that's not limiting people, right? Yes, I will share with you my story and my definition of my experience at this age, but I want to let you know that that's my experience, right? It can be your experience too, and if you want it to be, then I can help you. But I'm not going to say that that's everybody's experience and that it's unilaterally the experience of what it's like to be turning 47 in 2023. Right. So that's my message for today. Coaches, mentors, leaders, thought leaders, influencers, content creators. Be careful with the definitions that you put out there into the world. Know that your definition does not rest on. Well, your definition definitely doesn't invalidate other people's definitions, but also be careful with how you frame that definition, because it could potentially limit other people's experience who you have influence over, right? All right, so that's it. Yeah, well, more for me tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.